next item on the agenda is a guest presentation by the Ohio River Way National Trail Designation, and Forrest Clevenger, the Executive Director of Ohio River Way, is going to make a presentation to us.
And I'll just hop in right here for a second here. So I know we often don't have a lot of guest presenters at our commission meeting, but I reported at our last commission meeting about this very project that Forrest will be speaking about today. And I thought it would be helpful. It's nice to hear some positive stories sometimes. And so we're actually going to have a second positive story at the end of the meeting as well. So from another guest. But anyhow, welcome, Forrest, and look forward to your presentation.
Thank you so much, and it is an honor to be here with you today. As you just heard, I'm Forrest Clevenger. I'm the Executive Director of the nonprofit Ohio River Way. And what we do can best be explained as large landscape collaboration. So, water trail as well. So stretching 308 miles from Ashland to West Point, just south of Louisville. And this June, we were very excited to say that we were designated a national water trail. That is specifically for paddlers and boaters and folks that want to enjoy being on water. But as I said, large landscape collaboration. So we came together not just from the user group, but to represent the communities and the stakeholders in all of the different communities in this several 100-mile stretch. And that's part of how we're funded as well. So around 120 communities and organizations have bought into our work as dues-paying members, and we are the connective tissue between them for all sorts of projects. We have a series of committees focused on different issues, and we meet monthly and annually at a summit to collaborate on all sorts of things. So I just wanted to lay that foundation for the rest of this presentation, which will go into some of the key projects we are working on. So our mission is to help people find adventure, to inspire care for the land and water, and to boost the economies of Ohio River communities. And that is Israel, a volunteer with us, wonderful photo. To operationalize that mission, we have 4 core strategic goals. Creating a braided network of trails, that National Water Trail is one part of it. Rebranding the Ohio River Corridor, leading some outdoor programming, which is maybe the most fun part of what we do, and conserving land along the river. So that first point, the braided network of trails. This began several years ago. So Brewster Rhodes and a crew of paddling enthusiasts got in a 30-foot canoe and paddled from Cincinnati to Louisville over about 30 hours overnight. And while they were on the river in the dark at some point, they started dreaming about how this corridor's assets could be linked into a destination. And from there, they started mapping all of the assets in these communities. So this is a screenshot of our interactive map available on our website, also as an app. And it's just a great tool for paddlers that want to go out and, plan their trip. We also have signage, which here's what one of those signs look like. They're 6mm aluminum. They are not light. And Jerry Schulte and Brewster Rhodes with our team both volunteered helping put these up, 152 of them at 76 access points. And that's something we have to continually maintain, as occasionally a flood might pull them away. But it's just so folks realize that they're part of something bigger when they go to recreate. So there's the river mile and the specific access point, and that faces both towards land and towards the water. In addition to the interactive map, we have some segment maps. It is great to see when someone is paddling or boating and they've actually printed these out and are bringing it with them. I've seen paddlers put them in plastic sheets and tie them to the front of their kayak as they're going down just to keep them on track. And this is, practical information as well as, the fun stuff. So if you're in Portsmouth, go see the murals. There's all sorts of quirky things along the way, and we try to showcase that. Safety is a huge part of that as well. So Jerry Schulte, ORSANCO alumnus, is our volunteer safety coordinator, and he has helped us prepare a PDF safety guide. We have links to relevant conditions on water, both on our website and in our app. And we have a series of informational videos, because that safety component always is a top priority in what we're doing. All of these resources together, the mapping, signage, and the safety information is what came together to make this National Water Trail designation possible in June. And really, this does two things. First, it recognizes that we meet the standards necessary to be a really successful water trail, that all the resources are there if you want to come paddle, come plan a trip if you're a multi-day enthusiast. Second, it signposts that nationally. It literally puts our trail on the map nationally of other national water trails. So there was about, I think it was 387 miles of national recreation trails designated this June by the Secretary of the Interior, and we were 308 miles of that. It is not every day I get to talk with a reporter from the Washington Post. And I want to flag, because I just got a hold of these yesterday. This is the certificate from Doug Burgum making that happen. And the letter from the Secretary to Jerry Schulte, recognizing that designation. So, yes. Thank you. And so I'll flag, Jerry did that both as a volunteer and helps us out, but also was working for the National Park Service at the time as an experienced worker assisting us in that process. But, you know, I just got to be here at the moment it crossed the finish line. It was a lot of volunteers' work over a lot of years. And another requirement of the application was contiguous support of all the access points. So we lost track. We had right around 100 letters of support. We had one representing all 76 public access points. You had to have one from every land manager there and one from every state. So this letter right here was Andy Bashir. And we had ones from the DNRs in Indiana and Ohio as well. So that's the on-water component, but a braided network of trails would not be braided with one trail. We are increasing our focus on cycling and these land-based trails. And what does that practically look like? We're not going to pave a trail through Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio along the river. It's just not possible. It takes centuries. So what we are advocating is shared use paths within municipalities and improvements to these shoulders, ideally bike lanes, on these country roads linking river communities. There are already people that cycle this route. It's beautiful. I've done some of it. But on some of those country roads, there's not much traffic. But when there is traffic, it might be going 55 miles an hour. And it's really nice to have a shoulder that you can properly cycle in. And that's something that we think practically can be done, working with the Departments of Transportation. And we work with another nonprofit, Tri-State Trails, that just a few weeks ago cycled half of our route from Louisville to Cincinnati. And that is some of their team on one of the ferries, which is awesome part of cycling along the river is you do get to cross periodically on the ferries. We also just received this month $275,000 from ODOT here in Ohio to fund bikeway planning specifically in Ohio. And this stretches from North Bend near Ohio's border with Indiana all the way to Chesapeake right across from Huntington, West Virginia. So 182 miles, and $275,000 isn't a ton of money for cycling planning, but it's enough to get us started. And what it's going to do is catalog the existing infrastructure, catalog the existing planning, and then create a visionary route filling the gaps. So coming back to the standpoint of large landscape collaboration, our challenge as an entity is how do we get all the stakeholders working in the same direction? And this planning, I think, will be enough to get us started. Another bit of work focused specifically on trails that I would be remiss not to mention is that one of our co-founders, Dr. David Wicks, came up with the idea to create a new authority in Kentucky, a governmental entity focused specifically on enhancing and promoting and maintaining trails on and along the Ohio River. The idea for it came at the start of 2024. Within about 3 months, the legislature had passed the enacting legislation for the Kentucky-Ohio River Regional Recreation Authority. Within 2 months of the legislation's effective date, all 25 Kentucky counties had passed resolutions through their fiscal courts to participate in this authority. So what we're seeing is there's a lot of energy around our work on the river right now. And the purpose of that, specifically in the legislation, is to establish, maintain, and promote a recreational trail system. It's for tourism, outdoor recreation, and for the quality of life for folks that live in these river communities. All right. That second strategic goal, rebranding the Ohio River Corridor. It's probably not news to you all that if you talk to a layperson, they think that if they're going in the river, they might come out with a third arm, right? A common perception of it is that it is dirty and that it is dangerous. And as you all know, because of ORSANCO and folks like you, there have been massive improvements in the quality of the water. And we want to make sure the public is aware of that. And we want to make sure that they are aware that generally the water quality is safe for outdoor recreation as shown by ORSANCO's testing. So we're working on that in a variety of ways. One is we publish a visitor's guide. So Annette, would you be able to pass that out by chance? So this travel guide is the second edition we've done. We printed 80,000 copies this year. It's in 93 state parks, 18 interstate welcome centers, and throughout river communities in Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio. And that is 13 tons of travel guide, which if you'd like some more copies, I'm happy to give you as many as you'd like. Our goal with it, as shown by this artwork is in it, is to show that our corridor is bursting at the seams with natural beauty, vibrant cultures, and all sorts of things that you can do, all focused on the river. Of course, we are online. We are growing our presence online. We have trip itineraries on our website, active on social media. And again, we just want folks to see this as a corridor bursting at the seams with opportunities for outdoor recreation. We also helped out with a documentary that came out last winter. This is the Ohio Life, Death, Rebirth of the Ohio, showcasing all sorts of stories focused on the river. So again, one of those collaborations that came together once you get all the right stakeholders together and they start thinking about, well, what can we do? And you can watch that on our YouTube channel, and it's also available on PBS online. All right. Leading outdoor programming. You may have seen our canoes before. 30-foot Voyager canoes. These types of canoes first floated down the Ohio River in the 1600s. They are indigenous people's canoes from the Great Lakes region, where that style of canoe was originally used in the fur trade by the colonialist. But in any case, we've repurposed them. And for the past 5 years, we have done our challenge, which is that big float that was at our inception. This past year, we did from Ashland to Louisville. This coming year, as of today, we've confirmed we're going to do from Huntington to Evansville. So if you would like to come with us, block off your May. It's going to be 24 days. It's a lot of fun, and it does several things for us. You know, in part, it's a publicity stunt, right? Also, it's a networking opportunity for us, because we stop in every river town. We meet with every commissioner and every mayor that we can. And they think we're crazy because we sleep in their parks and we're doing this, but they also get it. They see the potential, and it's us actually showing up in person to understand the challenges and opportunities in these river communities. It really is a lot of fun. And if you'd like to join us for a day or even a few hours, we can make that happen. A part of that was new this past year was the Restore Lab. So a volunteer of ours with their 55-foot houseboat, which is the nicest houseboat I've ever been on, came along the entire time and said, let's do water quality testing. Let's do environmental education. Let's do debris surveys and biodiversity assessments. And let's have drones documenting every confluence and every island. And we let university students come free of charge as part of that, and they help staff this lab. The report from this expedition will be coming out next week. But we're very, very grateful to partners like ORSANCO and Watershed Watch that helped provide the materials for these students to do this testing. It was also staffed and led by a staff member from Jefferson Memorial Forest with Louisville Metro. So we will be doing this again in the challenge this coming year. But ORSANCO, I'll know, also came and did some demonstrations as part of that. So a wonderful photo of Ryan Argo up there in Portsmouth, who did an electrofishing demonstration for our paddlers. We're also, for the first time next year, will be doing programming with youth groups. So if you have a young person in your life that's 15 or 16, they are welcome to come paddling with us on a 5-day expedition we are doing with YMCA Camp PM and Go. So we'll be doing 2 of those next summer. And we actually, I want to note, we do not own the canoes. We work with affiliate nonprofits. River City Paddle Sports in Louisville owns 4 30-foot Voyager canoes, and we also work with Paddle Perry in Cannelton, Indiana, and they have 2 26-foot Clipper canoes. All right, finally, this is the most nascent point of our work, conserving land throughout our region, but I want to mention it because I think we'll be going further in this direction in the future. Probably our top priority are the islands. So as you likely know, there's the Ohio River Islands National Wildlife Refuge. 22 islands are fully conserved by it. Several are partially owned. And this ends at Manchester, Ohio. And the 30 islands further downriver are not conserved. We would love to see this refuge expanded or otherwise see more islands conserved, both for wildlife and public use. Additionally, we care about the land along the river in general for public access and for the view sheds of the river towns. If you have a small town and beautiful mountains on the other side of the river, we want to make sure that is protected. So some volunteer GIS folks, primarily with the Ohio Kentucky Indiana Regional Council of Governments, have been helping us map these priority lands for conservation. But honestly, there's a lot more we need to do here, and we've not been able to devote much staff capacity to the land conservation efforts yet. All right, and before wrapping up, I just want to flag a few more collaborations that don't neatly fit into all these buckets, but I think are worth mentioning. So we've done some free planning assistance in our river communities. We worked with the National Park Service to do 14 river town reviews, these community-led planning processes. And we've also worked with Blueprint Kentucky and Landscape Architecture program at the University of Kentucky to provide free assistance to 3 more river communities. And occasionally this stuff gets funded. By far, the biggest example is Ohio's Wonderful Waterfronts Initiative. And this is, let me be clear, far bigger than any of the planning or engagement we did, but we did our best to instigate this. So a couple years ago, the governor of Ohio invested $152 million in 19 riverfronts in Appalachia, almost all on the Ohio River. And this is simply a transformative investment. I mean, this might be the most historic thing that happens in our realm in my lifetime on the river. So think the 213-person village of Higginsport got $6.3 million for waterfront redevelopment in a park. I mean, it's $30,000 per person. It is huge for these rural communities. At the same time, the state of Ohio created the Ohio River Commission of Ohio, another state authority focused on not just recreation, also maritime interest on the river. We also have some great partners that are increasingly putting up kayak rental kiosk. So if you want to store a kayak long-term at a place on the river, or if you want to rent one temporarily, they're in all these locations. And this has sprung up in just the last couple of years, but it's making recreation more accessible for folks. And these are typically at the confluence of the Ohio with a tributary, so folks can really get their feet wet on a smaller waterway first. We also support restoration. For us, the more people that get on the water, it's the more people that care about the health of our waterways, and vice versa. If we have cleaner waterways or perceived cleaner waterways, more folks are going to get out and enjoy our natural beauty. So, as you are well aware, there's the Ohio River Restoration Program Act in Congress. Before I worked for the Ohio Riverway, I spent several years working for Congressman McGarvey back when he was still in the state legislature. So we are enthusiastic to see this legislation move forward, and we try to be a cheerleader for it from the economic development angle. We also have gotten involved in some work in Kentucky. So Kentucky Waterways Alliance, a nonprofit we work with quite a bit, said we need to do something about tire pollution in our waterways. And we said, okay, we have some connections at the state legislature. Let's go see what we can do. And we worked with Senator Shelley Funky Fromeyer last year to get a resolution passed urging the Energy and Environment Cabinet to explore and implement strategies to remove waste tires from Kentucky streams and waterways, and to submit a report to the legislature by December 1st or before. So I will defer to Deputy Secretary Lyons if you have any questions regarding what is in that report. But there's been a series of listening sessions as part of it, and there's been a lot of energy around cleanups to get tires in the meantime, partly because of this potential for legislative action. So, and we are so grateful to have worked with you all in that October 4th day that led to, I believe it was 20 tons of waste being removed, 17 tons of trash, 3 tons of recycling. I mean, that's absolutely huge. And it is such a powerful part of this work for us to be able to be engaged at the individual level of pulling a single tire out of the water all the way on up to the policy level at the state level or at the federal level. We also Love the work being done by our partners in Lawrence and Scioto County. I see Rick Hansen is here. He'll be talking more about the cleanup barge funded by H2O Ohio earlier this year. But again, a lot of energy in this realm. Finally, I will flag next week is our annual summit. We'll be at the Kentucky International Convention Center, and for the first time, we are merging forces with the Ohio River Basin Alliance, the Christina Lee Brown Environment Institute at the University of Louisville, and Kentucky Waterways Alliance. So we're trying to get everybody under the same roof. If we got our ducks in a row earlier, maybe we could have aligned it with a commission meeting, but perhaps we could try to do that next year. We would love to have all of you there as we really try to create annually recurring group of folks like what exists in the Great Lakes region, right? So, I mean, this happened to model those efforts. But again, anyone with an interest in the Ohio River, we're urging them to be there. And with that, to close, it really does feel like now is the time for the new Ohio River. I am young, perhaps I am naive in saying this, but it feels like there is a genuinely special energy around the river in this moment, both for restoration, which is so far seen true bipartisan support, and for outdoor recreation in these communities. And I don't think any of that would be possible without the work that ORSANCO has done for the last several, well, for a long time, right? And the incredible improvements we've seen in the last several decades. We could not be doing the work that we do in outdoor recreation if the water quality was not where it's at now. So thank you. And with that, I'm glad to answer any questions you all may have.
Thank you very much, Forrest. Great presentation. Thank you.